Have you ever decided to try something new, try something different, or just get better at something that you've already been doing? And in doing so, you research the topic, you listen to people talk about it, you talk to people about it, and you just continue to grow your knowledge in how to be better at that thing. And then you felt like you've got it pretty much down, or you've gotten to where you feel that you are a lot better at it than you ever have been in your entire life, or that, if it's a new thing, that, man, this is not as hard as I thought it was going to be, and I'm pretty dang good at it. And then all of a sudden, one day, something happens, and you think, did I even learn anything for these past X amount of months or days or weeks or years or however long you've been doing it? And it really makes you start questioning, what did I do wrong? Am I going to be able to recover? Is this going to be something that sets me back for a period of time that I'm not willing or wanting to let it do that to me? This happens in diabetes all the time. I am on this Facebook group for the Juicebox podcast. I listen to the podcast, and every day it seems like somebody's asking questions about something that they think they messed up, or they're learning how to do it, or whatever. And it's a daily struggle for people with type 1 diabetes to be good at what it means to take control of their diabetes and their health. I am finishing out my 4th month on the new pump in the Dexcom system, and things are going pretty dang well. If I look at my reports to tell you just how well I'm doing, when I look at my 90-day report, it shows that my average blood sugar is 112 over the past 90 days. The last 30 days, phone's running slow. The last 30 days, 115. The last 14 days, 115. The last 7 days, 117. So I'm sitting right around 120 or less as my average blood sugar all the time, and it feels great. It feels fantastic. If you would like to know why I think this feels fantastic, I encourage you to like and subscribe my channel. Go back and look at other videos so that you can see where I came from, because you will quickly realize this was not at all how my diabetes was managed prior to getting on this new pump and starting to listen to the Juicebox podcast. This is my story about how I'm growing in my life, and I want you to join me in this. If you're a type 1 diabetic, if you are the caregiver of a type 1 diabetic, if you're married to a type 1 diabetic, have a kid that's a type 1 diabetic, a parent, whoever it is in your life that you have that's a type 1 diabetic, I want to show you that it doesn't matter where your life is or has been, you have control of where it's going. I have been doing great in my mind. I spent so much time with my blood sugars being above 200, above 250, above 300, that I just felt very comfortable with my blood sugar being that high. Over these last 4 months, I've realized it is actually really simple to keep my blood sugars right where they need to be all the time. It really bothers me now when my blood sugar gets above like 140. When my blood sugar starts to get to 140 or above, I really start feeling like, man, what is going on? I need to get this down. I don't want to be in this position where my blood sugars are this high. Yesterday, I got to work. I was at work for a little while, and I pulled the site out from my pump, so now I don't have insulin going in my body. Luckily for me, I live a minute or so away, 2 minutes away from my office, so I was able to just put a note on the door and run home, get a new site, and be able to get insulin flowing again. The problem is a lot of times when you put a new site on for your insulin pump, the insulin is not going to absorb as fast into that new site for the first few hours or a given amount of time. It changes with everybody, so it's not the same for everybody. But for me, it usually takes a couple hours for it to really get to where that insulin is going to work in that new site. So usually when I change my sites, I'm changing it not around a mealtime, or I change it right after a mealtime so that I had just done insulin with the site that had been working. I change it when my blood sugar is constant. I change it just in some of the best case scenarios that I can, so that I can avoid having a spike in my blood sugar. Well, I wasn't thinking yesterday, and I changed the new site. I put it in, and then I had lunch. And what did I decide was going to be lunch? Well, I was going to have pizza. And pizza is one of those things that your insulin needs to be working for sure if you're going to eat pizza. And it's got to be working well, because pizza will hit you fast because of the bread, but then all the cheese that's on the pizza and the meat and everything that has a lot of fat in it makes the carbohydrates come at you for an extended period of time. The protein that's in the cheese and the meats or whatever you eat on your pizza, it extends the amount of time that blood sugar is going to rise from the food that you just ate. This happened to me, and it drove me crazy all day yesterday. My blood sugar went from being really good. I mean, I think before I ate, I was still, even with the new site, I was only without insulin for a very short amount of time. My blood sugar was right around 100 and, I don't know, like 115, 120, somewhere around there. I shot up to 200 within the first like 45 minutes of eating the pizza. And then throughout the rest of the day, my blood sugar got up and it stayed right around 260 for about the next 3 hours. And it was driving me crazy. I was throwing insulin at it. I was putting insulin in as often as I could at a safe amount, and trying everything I could do to bring that blood sugar down. I was drinking water, because water will help you to let the insulin flow better through your body. I was walking around the office a little bit more. I was doing things that I could to try to bring this blood sugar down, knowing that at 5 o'clock, I'm going to go home. My family wants to eat, and I'm going to want to eat too because I'm hungry, but it's really tough for me to want to eat when my blood sugar is that high now. In the past, I didn't care. If my blood sugar was 200, 250, 300, great, let's eat. And I'm going to eat whatever I want and see what happens. And if my blood sugar shot up even higher, okay, I'll figure it out later. Well, now I'm completely different with that. So when my blood sugar was sitting at 260, it was really, really weighing on me. And finally, right as I was about ready to leave work, I see that 260 drop down to 240. And then it dropped down to 230. And then on my Dexcom, that I had double arrows straight down with my blood sugar being at, I think, 180 something. And all I thought about was, finally, my blood sugar's coming down, and I'm going to be able to go eat with my family and not worry about where my blood sugar's at for eating the dinner, because by the time that we're going to get to dinner, it's going to be leveled out. Everything's going to be good. And that is kind of what happened. By the time we got to what we were going to eat for dinner, I was at a more level blood sugar. It was at a slight diagonal arrow down at about 135. We ordered the food, and I did my insulin for what I was about to eat over an extended bolus, because I knew that some of that insulin that I had done from before was still going in, and I needed to just let this insulin work because I'm going to eat this. I knew my blood sugar wasn't going to go low from the insulin before bringing my blood sugar down, but I didn't want it to hit me all at the same time. So I extended it out to give it to me over an extended period of time. The food that I ate, I decided to not eat what I normally eat, and I got it's like a power bowl. It's like a beefed up salad. It was a chicken salad with like avocado and some different, like all different vegetables, and there was a very light amount of sauce on it, or dressing on it. I thought that I nailed that bolus for that, and I thought that I was just doing good, because I cruised at like 70, 75 for the next like hour and a half. And then all of a sudden, my blood sugar just dropped, and it kept going down, and I was at 50, 55, 51, 60, and it kept going just right around that area, right around the 50-point mark. I was comfortable with it. I was okay, but I was just having a hard time bringing it back up now. right as I was about ready to go to bed, I got it to where it said 70. I stayed awake for a little bit. It said 70 for like it was in the 70s for the next like 15 minutes. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to go to sleep. And I went to sleep and I woke up this morning right at 75. I was perfect and everything was good. All that to be said, the apps that I use for checking my blood sugars and my pump and all that, it showed that my blood sugar was in my set range yesterday for 40% of the day. This is the lowest it's been since I've been on the new pump and the Dexcom, and it drove me crazy. And now it takes time, obviously, to get that percentage back up because it goes off of a timeline. So I'm now sitting at 52% in range, so it's coming back. My blood sugar's been well in range pretty much the whole day so far since I woke up this morning. It's just going to take some time to get it back in range and get to the point where like, okay, I know that things are okay. I'm back. Like, I know that things are okay now. I was frustrated yesterday. It bothered me yesterday, but I know that the insulin was going to start working. It was just taking some time, and I made a bad mistake. I made the bad choice of having pizza for lunch when I should have had a salad, or I should have just drinking water and thought, you know what, I'll eat a little later and it'll be okay. But I decided to eat pizza and I paid the price for it. So just remember that no matter what you're going through, it doesn't matter that something bad happens. You can turn around and you can change it right back into what it was the day before, because you have spent this time learning how to do something really well. You're really good at it. And that's not going to change because you had one bad day. In the grand scheme of things, there's 365 days a year. One bad day is not going to make a big difference. All that to be said, my 2-day average blood sugar is still in the 120s. So it's not that bad, right? It bothered me. I'm going to get past it. And you all can too. You guys, I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.